Hey everybody, it's Jason Creel. This is the Lawn Care Life, and as you know, I've been on here. Some of you guys are hopefully regulars. Been on here Monday nights for a while now. We took a little break, but been back consistent at it lately. And what we do is, whether you're watching this live or on replay, we take your questions. We're going to respond to them. So it would be helpful to me in the question section if you can tell us, where you're from, what kind of grass you're dealing with. So sometimes that helps us give a better answer. And got a special guest with me today. Maybe some of you have seen him before. I've had him on the channel before, but this is Teddy Mathis, and Teddy's with Gram Spray Equipment, and he is. But before he did that, Teddy, how long were you in the lawn business before you started working with Gram?
21 and a half years.
Okay, 21 and a half years. We'll have some people on here tonight that are probably not 21 and a half years old. So Teddy's got a lot of experience. He's got experience with warm season grasses, cool season grasses. So you guys make it hard on him and ask him the hard questions that I don't know the answers to. And like always, whenever if you see a question, and you can answer it in the comments too. If you're in the audience, you just feel free. So let's get started with that. I'm going to assume that all the technical stuff's working, and you guys let me know if for some reason it stops working. So Juan's first up. Hey, Jason, I am buying the Solo chest held spreader, the same one you're using for weed control and fertilizer. Company want to know if it's good for putting down lime applications. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, Juan, I have 3 of those hanging up in my shop. To me, that's the best chest-mounted spreader I have used, and I hadn't used them all, but it is a good one. For those of you not familiar with it, it mounts over. You have a strap around your neck or across your shoulder, and it mounts on your chest. I think it holds 20 or 25 pounds. I used it yesterday, but I definitely use mine for putting out lime on, but I'm not. That's not the only thing I'm using, but on a lot of small yards, I'll use a little spreader like that. Or if it's like too hilly to get my ride-on machine on, I'll use that. But yeah, you can definitely use it for lime, and I use mine all the time. So yeah, it's a good product, and they're very reasonably priced. I less than $100, I'm pretty sure. So that was my comment. Please, how much tribute total as well as how much spectacle flow per 1,000 square feet, sir? Love your content. Well, Teddy, I'm going to bring you in here. Most people are not blanket spraying tribute total and living to pay the bills at the end of the month. That would be an expense. If you mix in tribute and spectacle and go out blanking in yards, you're gonna be in the poorhouse. So as far as the rates go, we talked about that. But Teddy, did you use tribute, or was that a common product when you were spraying yards?
No, not tribute. Now, I had quite a bit of experience with spectacle.
Okay. Yeah, and spectacle, I feel like, especially in I've heard in the Atlanta market, it's they're getting POA resistance, and I guess we're getting some POA resistance to prodiamine and stuff like that. But it's not just for POA, in my opinion. Spectacle, it works on a lot of weeds. It's just better control. And I can't explain all the science behind it, but I know the following spring my yards are a lot cleaner than I'm using spectacle than before I was using spectacle. So, but to answer your question, hold on, I got a little document. I guess I'm pulling up something else on my computer here. Tribute total, it says the rate per 1,000 is 0.023 to 0.073. I'm assuming that's ounces per 1,000 square feet. Now, on spectacle, I don't even know if the label shows per 1,000 square feet, but I know when your blanket application, I'm using 6.5 ounces per acre is what I'm using. Now, some people do split apps and they'll go 3 ounces and come back again with 3 ounces. On my centipede yards and St. Augustine, I'm only using 4 ounces. On the tribute, it comes with a little scoop, and it's like, I think it's like a scoop per gallon. But anyway, I gave you the rate. And all this stuff, just check the label. But usually a lot of those things will come with a little handy scoop or measuring cap.
And spectacle, Jason, if you split app it, the way I did it was 0.09 ounces per thousand, and then I came back immediately with it again at 0.07 ounces.
Okay.
So and that nets you out about 7 ounces per acre.
So was that like September and then again in November or something like that? Or
yes, started mid-September and then immediately November to about mid-December.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people, and this is what I'm going to start doing this next year. I actually bought extra spectacle this year, and I'm going to start using it in May as well, just because doveweed has become such a problem. Kalinga, chamber bitter, spurges. I just think my prodiamine I'm putting out in January, February, March, it's not getting me through the summer. And I'm just getting killed with chamber bitter and spurge. And like I said, the doveweed, I probably had 4 or 5 yards with doveweed last year. This year, it rained a lot. I probably had 40 yards that had a big doveweed problem. And it's just getting worse and worse. And so anyway, I don't think the spectacle is going to fix it, but I do think it'll help. Chandler says, I run a weed control fertilization company called All American Lawn Pros. I do 8 applications. I was curious how you justify a spot treatment out to your customers that don't have any weeds. That's a good question, Chandler. I honestly, I don't know if I have ever pulled up on a yard that literally had no weeds. But there's definitely some that have more than others. So, like, for instance, let's say you pull up in July and you've got your or August, maybe you've already done all your fertilizing and all you're doing there is a weed control application. If they literally had no weeds, I don't know how you would justify it. Maybe you do something else for them that would be beneficial to the turf. But I'm not sure I've ever pulled up on a yard that didn't have at least some nut sedge or some spurs that you walk around and spray. But I guess if anything, you could sell yourself on what a great job you were doing in the other 7 apps that they didn't have any weeds. You got any thoughts on that, Teddy?
I did 8 apps as well, but none of mine were just straight spot spraying. It was some type of application for that year or for that time of the year.
All right, Chandler says, also, when you talk about putting out spectacle in May, will you also be fertilizing? Will you push fertilizer back? Do you plan on double apping? All right, double apping for round 3. Chandler, I was sitting there thinking about that today, to be honest with you. Because here's the issue. You put out spectacle in May, and that's supposedly the prime time to put it out for doveweed. And yet it's also the prime time to be fertilizing yards. So it's kind of like, well, what do I do? So I to answer your question, I still don't know what I'm going to do. I'm either going to do a double application and put out spectacle and fertilize at the same time, or I've thought about going to a slow release fertilizer in round 3. Like get my round 1 and 2 pre-emergence out earlier, go round 3 to a slow release that possibly might last the whole year, or use some kind of fertilizer round 3, spectacle round 4, and come back with more fertilizer round 5. But I think lots of people for round 5 also doing some sort of grub control. So I ain't quite worked all that out yet. But the key for me is I want to use that spectacle, so I want to improve on the weed control. But yeah, it is inconvenient when it needs to be done in May, and that's also a time where a lot of other things could need to be done. And then you'll recognize this name, Teddy. He said, my uncle runs Mighty Green Lawn Care up in your neck of the woods. I know Graham, Mighty Green is sporting them Graham rigs on the back of it. What do they got? The 300-gallon splits, or what are they using?
They've got a combination, mainly 400-gallon splits up on
400-gallon splits. Yeah, they got all those Ford F-250s just burning. And you're right; they're probably 10 minutes up the road from my house. So I see Mighty Green all the time. They're really how they've grown their business. They're not that old of a company, but I mean, I don't know. They might have 15 trucks, maybe more than that. I mean, that's just here because I know they're working in other cities as well. All right. Let's see. Hello, Jason. Love the Money Not Live. You're the best on YouTube. Appreciate that. My company's out of Millbrook, Alabama. Well, I'm very familiar with Millbrook. I used to live down in Montgomery, and you guys, y'all, you probably got some customers. Teddy, I know. I'm trying to think if there's anybody in that neck of the woods that I know that would. I mean, my buddies up here, some of them got the Graham rigs, and mine's a 400 gallon. I'm still using my 400 gallon split, and I've got mine set up now with Bermuda zoysia on one side, and on the other side, I got my Centipede St. Augustine, which at this time of year, really the main difference, I'm spraying 6.5 ounces of spectacle on my Bermuda zoysia. I'm doing 4 ounces on my centipedes, and I don't put the 2,4-D on the centipede side, but I'm still using simazine on both sides. So anyway, what should I do next with my, I'm assuming that's my instead of New York, because with my warm season grass. Well, right now, everybody, we're pretty much putting down our pre-emergence. It's somebody the other day was asking me, is it too late? I was like, no, I don't think it's too late. I mean, a lot of times, I was out my kid at soccer practice today, and I could see some, it was either henbit or purple dead nettle. I'm not sure which one. It was kind of small, but I thought, and I've already seen the wild garlic popping up. I saw some Star of Bethlehem the other day. It had a flower on it. And I said, man, what in the world is that? Where? And the dandelion, the cooler weather, the dandelions, they just go nuts. But that's one reason why we put, Teddy, did you do this when you were spraying? Did you, maybe explain to the audience, like, you're not just relying on that pre-emergent to get everything. So even if you're a little bit late on the application, that spectacle might reach back and get the weed of POA, or your simazine might reach back and get some existing weeds, or you got 2,4-D or MSM in there. Usually isn't that the way almost everybody does? They're almost always combining pre and post, because you're not always going to time it just perfect every application.
Right. Yeah. And you go ahead and put your pre-emergent down now. Of course, it has the residual for your spring annuals and your winter annuals too. But yeah, you got to clean up, especially in the business, because you just can't time that first yard with that last yard in the round. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you kind of got to toy with it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you got maybe, I don't know, if you're doing 8 apps a year, you may have 6 weeks or so to get through a round, and maybe the first customers in that round, you're going to be a little bit early on. The ones that's at the end, time I get done spraying my spectacle, I would imagine some POA has already germinated, but I'm hoping that spectacle will still reach back and get it. And if not, worst case scenario, I got to clean it up next February, whenever it shows up. Let's see. John says, hi from North Carolina. How do you eradicate Dallas grass from cool season grasses? Shovel, maybe. I don't know. Pretty much all the products that we know that you would use are I'm assuming they're all warm season products. So you're talking about Tribute Total, Manuscript's a new one that's out. Or came out a couple of years ago. I mean, just Celsius and Certainty mixed together is pretty decent on Dallas grass. But I don't know. I don't know if there is a product that's labeled for cool season grasses that would work on Dallas. But to be honest with you, our options on warm season grasses without MSMA are not great either. I mean, it's just hard to get rid of, period. When can I apply prodiamine pre-emergent? Is it time now? Again, it's helpful sometimes if you guys would let us know where you live and what kind of grass you're dealing with. But if you're anywhere in the South, and I guess I was talking to somebody up in the Midwest or up north or somebody recently, and they were saying it's funny to hear the Southern guys are talking about putting out pre-emergent. They said they're like aerating and overseasing there, and then they're packing it in for the year. I mean, they're done, or maybe they put some sort of winterized. So I'm assuming this guy is in the southern half of the U.S. And if so, yeah, I mean, I would get it out. I would get out soon. We try to before you start getting those cool nights, and we've already had a few cool nights, but if you see in the forecast where it's going to drop down low 50s or high 40s or something, I mean, you want to have it down and watered in before that happens, ideally. But if you hadn't done it by now, I would go ahead and do it. Brian's a regular. Brian's over in Georgia, Teddy. He said if you're using Tribute Total this time to reach back and get some baby POA along with Spectacle, use 1 ounce per acre. So he's answering that original question. Somebody was saying how much. So yeah, I mean, again, that's the expensive. That's expensive, but yeah, that's what you want to do, and then go for it. I'd usually save my tribute for spot treating by like Dallas grass, and put the MSO in there and try to knock out some Dallas grass. But what do you think about spraying? How do you say that? Chelated iron? Is that right? Chelated iron when you put Spectacle in May. Teddy, did y'all ever use iron over there?
Yeah, that was one of our summertime. Going back a couple of questions ago, he's talking about being in May and the fertilizer. What I found on that is I would put out my February pre-emergent of prodiamine, and then I came in with a product called Mesa, MESA. It was 25.5 made by Lebanon, and that was in March and April, and it is a very slow release fertilizer that will help green immediately. And then I came in with my pre-emergent again to now I used prodiamine to get me through the summer and out into September. So the iron is always good, coming out of transition or whatever, depending on the fertility you've used prior.
Yeah, and that'll give us some color, won't it?
Immediate color too.
Okay. Yeah. I know you got to be careful about staining up everything.
It will stain everything. And it's very hard on the equipment side, which I didn't know this until I got over at Graham. And on with the bean pumps like you use.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that has that outer casing that is metal, it's extremely tough on. And even if your innards in your pumps is not made out of stainless steel or whatnot, it'll eat a pump up. So the iron's tough on like ball valves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So understand that if you do use it, the equipment takes a little more harshness than other things.
I got you. Chandler said he uses Graham spray rigs as well, best in the biz. His uncle runs Mighty Green, so I'm sure. I think he said his uncle. So anyway, and you guys, I'll let Teddy talk a little bit after a while about this. But if Teddy's the one I deal with. If I need to buy a Graham spray rig, I bought my last one, and I called Teddy, and he's about as down to earth of a salesperson as he's gonna be. He's not gonna try to push something on you, but just we'll make sure you can go to grahamsc.com and ask for Teddy and he and the other guys, Dave, and they'll take care of you as far as getting. And you guys, are y'all going to be at the GIE this year? I'm assuming y'all have a truck there that people can come over and look at.
Yeah, we are, and we're actually featuring one of our customers' trucks.
Okay.
Just because it's a big old spectacle truck, and it's GIE, right? That it's a spectacle. So please come by and say hello, man. We want to see all of y'all.
Yeah, anybody that wants to just go by there and say, hey, maybe they'll do a giveaway, but go by and introduce yourself to Teddy and tell him you saw him on the channel and just get to know him. But if you need Graham, like I said, that's who I deal with, and they do. It is kind of a family atmosphere when you go over there and hang out with those guys. I've been to lunch with them, and they just have a good time. And anytime something goes wrong with my equipment, which doesn't happen much, but even if it's something as simple as a button on the reel going out, or I can't, it's been sitting up all winter and I'm trying to get and my pump's not doing right, I'll call Donnie or one of those guys, and they kind of walk me through it. Or so anyway, they definitely stand behind their products. All right. SVT Bill 89 in the back of your lot where you have DT period. I'm not sure I understand that. Just clarify your okay, he's got me in, I see below he's clarified. What fertilizer are you using for a fall application on warm weather lawns? Thanks in advance. I'm not fertilizing at all, and I don't know many people that are. Is it maybe Teddy? You might can explain the science behind it a little bit more. But is the grass basically going to use a lot of that nutrients over the course of the winter and depletes a lot of the nutrients, but it's gone dormant. It's not really taking in the nutrients, but the following spring you need to put the nutrients back in that's been lost over the winter. Is that your understanding?
There's a danger to fertilizing too late. Is that you're pushing the grass to process or eat when it's not supposed to. It's in a shutting down process, and so you got to be careful with warm season grass not to fertilize too late, because it's actually detrimental. And in the spring, you'll have spring dead spot and stuff like that. Due to that, you actually hurt the grass a little bit. So, be very careful with that. We never, and it's just a waste of money. I mean, grass will only uptake nutrition in certain conditions. And so if you're outside of that, you just threw that money on the ground and wasted it because it didn't do a thing for it. And it will volatilize and just go up into the atmosphere. It's not going to be uptook by the plant.
All right, we've got a $10 tip. This is going great. What do you plan to do in the back of your lot if you're new in Bermuda and invade your new St. Augustine? So on my channel, I've been doing videos at my house, and I've got 4 acres, and I've plugged Bermuda, both plugging it like had a sod farm, cut it into plugs. I've used this thing called a Pro Plugger and plugged it that way. I bought 2 pallets and just threw it out and let it land on the ground and see what happened. Wait. Point being, most of it's filled in with Bermuda. Well, I had some areas that were a little shadier, and I put St. Augustine. Same thing. I just bought some pieces of St. Augustine and kind of spread it out. I've got more time than I do money, so I just letting it take its time to spread. So I'm not overly concerned about the Bermuda invading the St. Augustine, because where the St. Augustine is, the Bermuda is not going to do very well there because of the shade. The opposite would maybe more likely to happen with the St. Augustine creeping over into Bermuda, but I don't think that's going to happen either. And if it did, I mean, there are a lot of stuff you spray on a Bermuda yard is not really is not labeled for St. Augustine, and so I think I can beat the St. Augustine back, and I don't think the Bermuda is going to creep into the St. Augustine because it's a shady area, and the Bermuda wouldn't do well there anyway. I wish I could have did zoysia in all the shady areas, but it doesn't spread, and I might be dead for it. Got through spreading and covering all this, so I went with St. Augustine to speed up the process a little bit. All right, Bassmaster 1953. I think summer and winter split apps may be the best plan for late germinating weeds, especially when rainfall is high. Yeah, and there's some different theories on that. I mean, I've heard like on the spectacle, a lot of people. I talked to the Bayer rep one time, and he was saying he preferred the split out. He preferred the 3 and 3, and I've heard others say that you want to get it. Maybe they prefer to get it all out at one time to give you the best chance of preventing it. But I think in the spring, again, I feel like with this year, with all the rain we had at least in our area, and I'm assuming in Georgia y'all had a lot this year too. But I just felt like I needed some more pre-emergent on the ground later. By the late summer, I was just getting killed with weeds. So there's definitely pros and cons to splitting up your apps. I overseeded and renovated patches of Turk-top tall fescue on 16 days ago and put down starter fert. How much longer should I wait to put another dose of fertilizer on it? Teddy, you got any thoughts on that?
Depending on the rate, really, I wouldn't put anything down for at least another 30 days. Because it's going to be too immature, let it grow in, get about 6 inches tall before everything goes on it, before you cut it off, or that's a little high, maybe 4 or 5 inches tall and I wouldn't fertilize it again probably until December.
Teddy, when you were doing the turf type tall fescue or other, maybe you had some other cool fescue lawns, and was that kind of standard process that y'all would aerate and overseed in the fall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we aerate overseed. Anytime that the up until about, you can, depending on nighttime temperatures. Here in Georgia, Metro Atlanta, we would aerate and overseed maybe into the first week of November.
Okay, because those grass types, they just get kind of thin over the course of the summer. Is that, and you gotta
down here in the South, really the fescue line is probably up by Huntsville in Alabama, and across Chattanooga and all of that. And with sandy soils or clay soils, there's just not enough nutrition, or water cannot go through the water table as well, or it goes too fast in sand. Really, fescue grass is best in loamy soil.
Yeah.
So you would constantly battle it here in the summer, the heat, humidity, people not watering effectively, fungus. It's a hard thing down here in the South.
Yeah. Kareem says, "Hey, I'm spraying prodiamine at half rate, 1 amp now, 1 in December. Should I be mixing the simazine in 3-way vessel at full rate in Georgia?" Kareem, that's what I'm mixing simazine and I'm just using 2,4-D. When you say full rate, I'm using like 2 pints per acre on my 2,4-D, and same on the simazine. So I don't know what the annual max rate is on some of those products. I'm pretty sure it would be more than that. So I don't know that you got to go, when you say full rate, I don't think you got to go annual maximum rate. But like I said, for me, I'm going 2 pints per acre on simazine, 2 pints per acre on 2,4-D. And again, I'm using spectacle, but if you're going to use prodiamine, you can use half the annual rate in the fall. Would probably be good.
Now, Jason, I figured out a fall to winter broadleaf weed control that it was called Eliminate D, and it's very, very effective on wild onion, garlic, clover, those kind of things. And that's what I used instead of the ester products of 3-way or whatever.
Yeah.
It seemed I just got a better control, and I added a little surfactant too. Now it's going to be slow as the temperatures go.
Yeah.
Very, very effective.
Yeah. Now, did that have methylfuron in it, or what was in that product?
I can't remember. I'd have to pull the label on it.
Yeah. And sometimes I put methylfuron in there with mine and that stuff, like you say, is slow as on those onions and stuff. You might not see anything happen but the next year you come back and say, hey, there's a lot less onions than there were the year before. So
that Eliminate D we had to go by and squish the onions and spray it.
Oh,
that Eliminate D, you spray it over, and about 3 weeks later they were dead.
Okay. All right. John, the Dallas is crazy this year. With Dallas grass, it's a perennial. It's not, it's not gonna but yeah, if you got it, it's gonna look ugly. But it's not necessarily one year's worse than the other, because that's a perennial. It just comes back. It's always there basically. Jason, put down liquid pre-emergent, but didn't rain for 10 days. Is that a game changer? Atlanta centipede line. You have to check the label, and I think most time it'll say 10 to 14 days or something like that. I wouldn't be overly panicked about that, and I definitely wouldn't go back and spray it again with more pre-emergence. My gut feeling on that is you'll probably be fine. I'm in South Carolina, by the way. All right. And Sean, Hey, Jason, a.k.a. the Lawn Boss, LOL. I've learned so much from you this summer. It's incredible. Your advice is most true than anybody on YouTube. Thanks so much. Appreciate that, Sean from Michigan. I've been to Michigan one time. I went up there to Brian Fullerton's event 2 or 3 years ago in outside of Detroit. And so that was my first and only trip to Michigan. I use impact sprinklers, the one that comes 2 in a pack. I run 2 hoses, 3 sprinklers per line. I switch the head into which one I want. All right, Sean, appreciate that. And what's a good Bermuda seed to use? I have a guy that got Bermuda sod in a lot of dead areas. He didn't saw it. He can't figure out what type of Bermuda it was. It's just looking for a good seed to match. I mean, I know Pennington makes some of those, hybrid Bermudas. I forget the name of all the new ones they come out with. Celebration, maybe one. I don't know. But a lot of times the sod almost everybody got around here is the 419 Bermuda, and you can't really grow it from seeds. But the thing about my advice in this situation, Teddy, and you've probably seen this before, you have like just a pitiful looking Bermuda lawn, but it's amazing how much it'll fill in over the course of the summer if you'll just fertilize it. So, I mean, if you got some dead areas, like I said, I covered 4 acres at my house and just plugging and throwing a little sod out, So I'm not sure. And again, if you're going to seed it, you're going to have to wait till like next May or something. I mean, it's too late for that. But you could plug it now if you wanted to. Plug it and let it get rooted over the summer, and then next year it's gonna take off. So I might push you more toward plugging, but yeah, look at some of the Pennington's gonna have some of the hybrid Bermuda seeds. I wouldn't just go out there and throw a bunch of common Bermuda seed out in my hybrid, because you can tell the difference. It's not gonna have that tight look to. I mean, it'll look fine, but it's not gonna look as good in my opinion.
And if you plug it up, Jason, like that, you can also use growth regulators like they do on a golf green or on a fairway, and you'd be shocked of how much it'll cover.
Yeah, I'm using a Podium on my lawn. Sometimes T-Nex is another one that people use. Well, it might be the same ingredient in those. I'm not sure. Chandler says, have you found anything to eliminate foxtail and or torpedo grass? Torpedo grass, no. I remember spraying that. I had a yard just covered in it, and the guy, he was mad about it and wanted to know why his yard was eat up with crabgrass, and it was torpedo grass. And I sprayed it 3 times with Drive Accelerate, which is quinclorac, which is what's labeled for it. And you can spray it 3 times, like the label says, and basically what it does is turn it yellow, and then it doesn't kill it. And so I would say if you got torpedo grass, you need to have a conversation with a customer and tell them that they're going to have torpedo grass forever, okay, unless they want to sell the house. So and I've got a new customer this year. We don't have a lot of it. I've heard down in Louisiana that torpedo grass is bad. Foxtail, I mean, I think, the quinclorac products on it will probably have a little bit more effectiveness on it. But there's I can't think of the name of it. There's one time a foxtail that I've seen around here some, and it's a little bit tougher to get rid of. So anyway, there's different types of foxtail, but you could try, try your quinclorac products, try Celsius. I don't know. You have any thoughts on that, Teddy?
I had good luck with Celsius.
Yeah, and Celsius is a good, product just to keep on you all the time, just for grassy weeds and stuff. I mean, and broadleaf weeds and bluegrass. But I want something else. What's your thoughts on Bermuda and Michigan? I don't have a good thought about that. Or something else that's good for extreme traffic. No, I don't think your Bermuda is gonna do too good up in Michigan. And most people even that get it, I feel like even as the further north you get, the more people seem to hate Bermuda. They just want it gone, even when they get it mixed in with their cool season grasses. But I don't think it's going to take it up in Michigan. What grass is there a cool season grass, Teddy, that works? That he's talking about extreme traffic. Like, what are they using on sports turf and that sort of thing up there?
grass in and of itself, just the way it goes, none of them are real good on with heavy traffic. In most landscapes, in my 21 years, if we had a heavy traffic area, that's a place that we were going to put a pathway in,
Okay.
Because I don't, and Bermuda is definitely not one that likes traffic. So,
yeah. And I don't think it likes Michigan either.
Oh, it ain't gonna like Michigan at all.
All right. He says we're doing a good job here. He said, if I use pre-emergent now, when's the next time I should put it out? Bermuda, Georgia. Is there a town called Bermuda, Georgia, north of Atlanta? Or no, I think he's saying he's got Bermuda grass and he's in Georgia, north of Atlanta. I'm sorry, I misunderstood that. Well, again, it depends on if you talk. We've kind of hinted at this, whether you're doing like a split pre-emergent. So I mean, if you want to split them, I guess you could put out pre-emergent now. You could come back and do a little bit more in 6 or 8 weeks from now. If you're doing like me and I'm going just one app of pre-emergent right now, then I'm not going to spray pre-emergent again until I'll start back in January, and it'll take me on into February to spray my pre-emergent. But at that point in time, I'm basically trying to keep the crabgrass. I'm working on summer weeds at that point, where right now I'm trying to get the cool season weeds. So that's my plan. Brian, I skipped you, man. Let's see. Look up Let's Go Eliminate D contains 2,4-D, MCPP, and dicamba. Okay. Sounds like a good mix there. Is that, Brian, is that what you're mixing with your fall application? Chandler said, LOL, that's what I figured. He's the one that was asking about torpedo grass. And don't even try the torpedo grass. Don't waste your money. All right, thanks, guys. Pathway is going in. All right, he said he's putting in the pathway. All right, y'all guys, bring on you more questions. Teddy, tell me, we got a break here. I want you to tell us about when somebody calls you and they're, because I get people all the time. I had one email me today, and he's starting in the weed control and fertilization bit. They're going through the licensing process, and they get licensed, and then they, obviously after that, next thing to do is get some equipment. So what do you tell people? Because I get the question all the time about the ride-ons. Should I get me a ride-on, or should I get a tank sprayer? And then when they want to get a tank sprayer, what do you tell them when they call? Do you quiz them on what kind of properties they're going to deal with, or what, as far as where they need a flatbed? I forget the names of all y'all's trucks, or a pickup unit. Anyway, take a minute and kind of walk us through your sales process, the conversations you have with people that are getting started in weed control.
That's going to depend, one, on location. Where are you located in the country? What types of grass that you're concentrating on, or what types of service, whether you do tree and shrub care or whatever, and budget. I mean, they're all of us start at a different spot. So, me, I started poor as dirt, so now my buddy Andy Cadrich, who owns a very large company over here in Atlanta now, he come with a lot of money, so those are the conversations, and I try to help guys start where they are. That's the important part is getting started. So and then you were talking about the ride-on and the hand. The answer is yes. You need both, in my opinion, in this business. The positives to the ride-ons is it's very consistent. As long as it's running correctly and putting out correctly, it's very consistent, more so than a man spraying by hand. But the negative to it is if it rains you out today, and it's a good hard rain, and that's all you do, you might not only be washed out today, but you might be washed out for the next couple days, because you put that on wet ground, and it's going to rut the yards up. So there's pros and cons to all of it. If I was going back in the business tomorrow, I'd have a 400 split that had 2 hose guns, reels, motors, and pumps. I would concentrate predominantly on Bermuda and Zoysia grass. And I would have a ride-on sprayer spreader that would take all my handcuffs off of what I can sell. If you have 400 or 500 feet of hose on a reel, that's as far out as you can go. And big properties and subdivision entries and that, you need more capacity. And I think if you can do both, you're cooking with gas then.
I agree with Teddy, but I think you said something important, and I want to address this, is that, just getting started is the hard part. Some people get so paralyzed, it's analysis paralysis, or what are they just staring at the equipment and how much stuff costs. And I don't think we have to apologize for this, but you can buy a cheaper spray rig than a Graham unit. I'm sure you get, but like mine, it's the amount of money that the thing makes you. If you look at a business investment, I tell people on YouTube, I started a coupon book fundraising company about the worst thing I ever did, just about financially, and lost money, invested a bunch of money and lost money. But you go buy a Graham rig, and like I said, I've got the 400-gallon split, and comparable with a really nice 0-turn mower in price, but I think it'll outproduce the financially. I don't think it's even comparable. And I'm pro mowing. Okay, don't get me wrong, but it's just that it's a little Honda engine and a big old tank and a pump, and and that thing just. I was out there today and my legs get tired, but that machine just keeps on going, and I'm just out there just spraying money. It's just and it's all day, every day. And I change the oil about once a year. Probably should do it more, and I forget to grease it half the time. And every time I check my air filter, it looks like I ain't changed it in 5 years. So, but it's hard to beat those little Honda engines. And again, the same thing on the ride-on spreader. None of this stuff is like free. There is some investment, but when you look at the amount of investment for this business versus about any other business in the world versus the financial return on it, it's a pretty good deal. I'm not been in every business, but it's a very profitable business, and you don't have to have that much to get going. So, and like I said, to me, you start growing and making money, and then go get whatever you want after that. But just get going. Even if you got to start with a 200-gallon thing on a trailer, and just get out there and start making money, and you'll figure the equipment out later.
That's exactly how I started, was with a 200-gallon poly unit on a trailer. And 17 years later, I was running $1 million a year company. So, the main thing is just start going, and I had a buddy of mine that owned a very large company, and he said, just start selling it. He said, sell it and get the job done any way you can, and save some money, and, buy some more, and that's so true. Most guys get too stuck, I'm not totally prepared right now.
And I've seen that even on the mowing side of people. Sometimes you'll have somebody that's got every piece of equipment known to man, and you'll have another. But I see some of these big companies that got more money than they know what to do with, and they'll have two guys out there with one walk behind mower, and they're out there making money all day. You know what I'm saying? And they could afford whatever they want. So anyway, I'm pro equipment. I'm pro getting whatever equipment you can that's going to make you faster and more efficient, and ultimately make you more money. But if you can't afford that, don't let that stop you, because you can once you get going and you start seeing, okay, you don't have to be great at math to know that you start knocking out these yards and making money. If you can count money, then you're going to probably enjoy the business side of it. So, all right, let's get back to the questions. Elvin says, "What's a reliable herbicide for chamber bitter, St. Augustine centipede?" Chamber bitter, a lot of times the combination we've been using that is you mix your metsulfuron, which is really, really cheap, and 1/4 ounce per acre, and you put a low rate of change up in there. And so that's a real inexpensive combination, and you can use it on Bermuda, Zoysia, centipede, St. Augustine. So I'm using a change up of like 8 ounces per acre, and 1/4 ounce per acre of metsulfuron, and it will knock out not only the chamber bitter, it'll knock out a lot of weeds, not your sedges, but pretty much all the broadleaf stuff. Map check, 16 pints per acre is pretty much 0.73 ounces per 1,000, correct? I'm sorry, Kareem, on that one. I'm gonna have to break out a calculator and see on that. 16 pints per acre is what that's
gallon.
Quart. That was 16 quarts would be 4 gallons. 16 pints would be what half that. 2 gallons. 2 gallons per acre is pretty much. I don't know. I'm sorry. We'll have to. But just check the label. I'm not sure what product you're. I'm almost sure that's wrong, Kareem. I'm sorry, without doing the math. But 0.73 ounces per 1,000. So that would be equivalent, like on change up. I would use a rate like that on change up, and somebody help us out here. But yeah, you wouldn't. There's no way I'd put 16 pints of change up per acre in my big tank, but spot treating I'd use 0.73. So it's going to be more like 2 pints per acre is going to be closer to that. I'm not 100% sure if that's right, but no, 16 pints is way over label without doing that. I'm pretty sure. So check yourself on that one. Crowfoot grass control, overtaking my Bermuda help. What control should I use? Do you know what crowfoot grass is?
I don't.
Let me Google that real quick and see if it even comes up. Hold on. Crowfoot grass. Oh, it looks like a dove. I mean, not doveweed. Shoot. What's the other one that's what's the one that's Teddy that's all on the golf greens and stuff? They deal with it on golf courses all the time. Not doveweed. It's the other grass with the man. I can't think of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't think of it. But if it's a grassy weed, I mean, in your Bermuda lawn, you're gonna have to go with probably like Tribute Totals or Celsius or those type grassy products, or you may try like a Dismiss NXT. I can't believe I can't think of the name of the weed I'm trying to think of, but it's what it looks like to me. 2,4-D has worked for me. Learned it from you. Tractor Supply is the only place I can find it. And a dandelion puller weeds gone. Yeah, 2,4-D will definitely work on some dandelions. How can I modify my mower to cut higher? I have St. Augustine grass. My mower only cuts 3 3/4 inches. I wouldn't wish to cut it 5. I'm not much on modifying mowers, so I don't know on that other than put some more air in your tires or maybe have to get another mower. But I'm not sure you can be able to modify your mower. That would be tough unless you maybe air up your tires as much as you can. Chandler says, Teddy has sold me 2 poly units. I started with a 200-gallon poly because I didn't know how many customers I would have when I started. Right now, I have to do a little over 400 customers with 1 unit. So that's a good example, Teddy. Chandler started with a 200-gallon poly. He's got 400 customers, and I'm sure now he can afford to buy something better if he wanted to. But I've heard people that I don't remember who it is, but people that buy a 200-gallon. Maybe you told me this one time, and they'll start with that, and then they'll get a second truck going with a bigger unit, but they'll keep that 200 and just keep using it, because it's still you go find a purpose for it. It's not like it doesn't work anymore. So you sometimes when you upgrade, you keep the other one and get two trucks going. So anyway, Brian. I'm mixing change up in my spectacle flow Simazine mix for fall pre-em as my postamers in Georgia, about 40 miles south of Atlanta. Yeah, and change up, is going to knock out a lot of stuff. I'm not sure on the price of that compared with some of the other products. It may be a little more expensive than what I'm doing, but If you get tired, and the changeup would help with this. Sometimes the following spring, I'm spraying all this stuff, and I still end up with yellow wood sorrel and some of those stuff that just seem to not die, and you have to go back and spray it with changeup. So if you did that, you probably would get a lot of those. Made a lawn striper out of PVC and eye bolts. There you go. Our lawns don't stripe too good down here. You can get a little striping on a zoysia maybe, but it's nothing like you guys have. 400 split is definitely the way to go, though. Keeps you from having to refill. Also have a ride along for first season. Teddy, why you said something about having a 400 split? Why? And if you guys have a question, go ahead and get in. We got 10 more minutes left. If you're just doing Bermuda zoysia lawns, like you were saying, would be your focus, you still think it would be wise to get a split unit? And if so, why do you kind of push people toward getting a split unit?
Well, if you're just doing lawn care, for me, it was the ability to upsell. Like we have a split that's 300, 100. And that 100-gallon side, during fungus season or insecticide applications. Now, me personally, I'm a big fan of the tree and shrub business. It's very, very profitable, pretty dang easy to do. And so my tank would be a split tank with 2 independent reels and pumps so that there's no cross contamination, and I can do more than one service per stop. That's kind of the way it is here. But if you're in lawn care, it gives you just the ability to upsell. Now, here in Metro Atlanta, we had a lot of building that had Bermuda grass in the front, fescue grass in the back. So as you can imagine, that was nightmare with a single tank, because I might have to do the front yard now and come back and do the backyard or granular, or it was all kind of crazy. So that's why here down south that I recommend that a lot.
Yeah, and I've had some yards that be centipede in the front and zoysia in the back and stuff like that. Or in the springtime, I may have my regular customers that have already put down one round of prodiamine. I'm going to go back and spray another round of prodiamine, but I get a new sign up, and I might need to go with something else. It may be I may need to go with Dimension or. So I might have that mixed in there. But, yeah, it's a pain to have to empty your whole tank out just to mix something else up to go spray 1 yard or something. So if you got those 2 sides, and sometimes I wish I had 4 sides to it, but 2 is definitely twice as good as 1, if my math's correct. All right, what's up, y'all? Just got in for the evening. This guy, he comes in late almost every time he says he's working. He must work till dark every day. But anyway, I appreciate him getting on here. He's a regular on the channel. Looks like I'm late this show. You can always go back and watch it on replay. It'll be on YouTube. Michael in Jefferson, Georgia. You brought out the Georgia crowd, Teddy. They all excited about the Bulldogs whooping everybody in football. I used Spectacle Flow this fall and plan to use Resolute this spring. How much Resolute to use on Bermuda grass? I'm using the powder kind, and I get one of those. Mine comes with a blue measuring cup, which is very handy for measuring. So it's in a weight as opposed to a liquid volume. But to simplify it again, you could sort of take your annual match rate, and then let's say you were going to use half of that in the spring, but then you were going to split that. I still would probably go more so round 1 than round 2, because your round 2 may be after the crabgrass is germinating. So, give example, I'm using 0.75 pounds per acre round 1, 0.55 pounds per acre round 2. I'm thinking about going a little heavier round 1, because I think that's really the one doing the heavy lifting as far as crabgrass go. Not that I had a little bit of breakthrough this year, and so I'm thinking about bumping it up a little bit round 1 and bumping it down a little bit round 2. But that's just an example. And if it was the liquid kind, you just have to convert those numbers. Liquid, you could take the annual max and take half the annual max and then split that between the 2. So it would It wouldn't be like a quarter and a quarter because, like I said, I'm recommending going a little heavier on round one. All right. Do you price a pre-treatment by measuring per square foot? What's the price range per square foot? I think you're just talking about pricing weed control. Yeah, I do price per square foot, but I tell you what, I've kind of learned this. I feel like I got too hung up on just the square foot as the only factor on the price, because not all square footage looks the same. And I'm like, why did I charge this guy who's on the side of a mountain with all this landscaping and a dog in the backyard, and I got to notify him every time, and he lives out of the, that's not the same as my next door neighbor who's got a piece of square with grass with one tree in the middle and no fences. I mean, so I've kind of got a little smarter. And then when I'm going to adjust prices, increase prices, I'm going to make sure I adjust some more than others. But yeah, I do. And my range goes anywhere from, I'm going to say on like a 2,000 square foot property, I could be at like $16, $17 per thousand. So you look, which is only $32 or $34, which, and some people are going to be more than that. Again, I'm not going to drive across town for $32, but if I've got a neighborhood, it's got a bunch of little garden homes, I'll spray all of them for $32 all day. And then it's about, if I get real big property, I mean, you go down to like $5 or $6 per thousand. I got one even go down to $4 on, but it's a modified plan, and it's sort of an agreement that I'm not breaking out all the fancy, expensive products. So in certain situations, I can still be profitable. But again, that's with the customer knowing we're dialing back the fertilizer big time, and I'm not, spraying all the expensive stuff. Let's see. Now I know some people do it differently. They'll have like a base price plus a certain dollar amount per thousand after that base price. There's other ways to do it. All right, we got 5 minutes here, so I'm gonna. Oh man, I know there's so many questions. All right, we're going rapid fire, and then South Mississippi crabgrass ruined my backyard. It's a muddy mess. Put down prodiamine several months ago. What should I do in order to make my backyard look decent through the winter? Simple. You could oversee with ryegrass. I just did that on my yard on YouTube because mine is a muddy. We graded out a bunch of dirt, and it's just a mud hole. So I overseed with rye. Best herbicide to kill moss. I don't know. You know how to kill moss, Teddy?
Lime, but if moss is growing there, that is a thing that God put there in wet, shady conditions. And so chances are, if you're trying to grow grass, you're not going to grow it where moss grows.
That's right. Moss grows where the grass doesn't want to grow. Jason, so I think you said I talked him into overseeing his front yard, maybe. Never tried it. Curious to see. Yeah, I put mine out. The perennial rye is, I think, better than the annual rye. I just did the annual because it's cheap, and I just want something to hold my mud hole here. Meant 2 pints. Sorry. Yeah, I think, Kareem, 2 pints is probably close to that 0.73. I'm not exactly, but you scared me with the 16 pints. You're going to turn something brown doing that and lose money too. How much can you make in lawn care? Oh, you make millions, man. Everybody makes millions. So yeah, I don't know. That's a very broad question. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that's mowing yards all in this 8 months out of the year, take the whole winter off, and they make $60,000 or $70,000 profit, and they're thrilled with that. In spraying, if you get a full schedule, you should, in my opinion, you should be doing better than that. And then, of course, as you grow, people do make tons of money. My friend James on here, 32 ounces per acre is 0.73. So we were dead on there, Kareem. 2 pints is 0.73. So that's good. 16 pints is enough to kill something. All right, crowfoot grass is close to goose. That's what I sat there and saw. I just couldn't think of goose grass for the life of me. James, if you know how to kill it, close to goose grass. Yep, I couldn't think of it. Goose grass. We have confirmed that it looks like goose grass. I'm going to assume you kill it like goose grass too. So 2 pints, not 16. Got it figured out. All right, Kareem. Glad. Thanks for being on the program. Both my neighbors have Bermuda invading my flotation. I don't understand that. Maybe he's talking. Maybe you talking about some type of St. Augustine that's misspelled. I don't know. if you Bermuda grass is hard to get out of other grasses. I do know that. Unless you live up north, don't they use Pilex or something like that to help get out of cool season grass. A lift kit on the lawnmower. Yeah, he's talking about the guy on the razor. All right, man. A lot of emojis. Thank you for those. What weed control you mixing with your pre-em January to March? I've been using Momentum. I'm putting triplet in there and atrazine and then when the grass starts turning green, I take the atrazine out. Can you get another show to discuss tree and shrub fert gain, please? Equipment pricing techniques. Really would like to add that service. Teddy, they're calling for you to do a tree and shrub program. I don't focus on that much, so I would need somebody like Teddy to help us do that. Both of my neighbors have Bermuda invading my Floratam. That's right. He was talking about Floratam. What do you think of putting a strip of Scott's St. Augustine along the property line so I can treat with glyphosate? So that must be that new St. Augustine that's glyphosate resistant. Maybe that would work. I mean, yeah, if it's sometimes when you get Bermuda mixed in, I mean, it's just going to be hard to get the Bermuda out of the St. Augustine. You probably have a better chance of getting the St. Augustine out of the Bermuda. El Mino, what's your opinion on the apps to get started that Thumbtack? I'm not sure I understand that, but Thumbtack is like a marketing thing. It's kind of like Home Advisor. I've used that, and I had okay results with that. I'm not sure if that was the question. What's your thoughts on a lawn care franchise? Thinking about joining Augusta, and like everybody's feedback. They're definitely more expensive, but you get the brand recognition. I looked into Weed Man and there's Spring Green. There's some other ones. So, you're going to pay the price. I'm not a big franchise person personally, but there's some advantages of the name recognition and the support you'll get. I've stopped measuring and price it by eye and difficulty of the lawn. You need to measure, Chandler. Don't go, hey, I agree with the difficulty and headache and all that. You need to factor that in, but don't give up on your measure. Will that kill goose grass? Will kill that goose grass looking thing? Let's Go fertilizers up 50%. Ooh, that's a big. That's big. Check with Harold's. That's my guys over at Harold's. If you want to get a second quote, but I know fertilizer is up across the board. Thanks for the program. Thanks, Teddy, for your information. And Weed Man have some sketchy practices. Teddy, appreciate you being on. If people need to get in touch with you, what's the deal here? We are encouraging you to go by and see Teddy and Dave and the crew at the GIE. I'm gonna go by and say hey to them, check out their rig. But if somebody's watching this on replay or live and they want to buy a $60,000 rig from you tomorrow, what do they do? How do they get in touch with you?
Call me now. We've got several ways. Obviously, you can go to our website, and we have. But for me personally, I handle everybody except the state of Georgia. And so, if you're outside of the state of Georgia, my work cell is 678-353-4475. Dave Arnett is our Georgia rep. And you could get in touch with either one of us but via email. My email is teddy@grahamse.com, and his is dave@grahamse.com. And please come by the booth at GIE. We're going to have just a litany of pictures there, and this big gaudy truck and all that. So we'd love to see you guys there too.
Yeah, Graham's a regular sponsor on the channel. I was using Graham spray rigs before they became a sponsor. And if they cancel their sponsor, I'd probably still use them anyway. So they're great products and great people. So appreciate you being on. Thanks, Teddy. We'll catch you soon. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.